My name's Mark Elliott. I just want you to know that I have something called Tourette syndrome, and it causes me to make noises and say some things that I can't help. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it bothers you. I promise you, it bothers me more.
I said, no, I have Tourette syndrome.
Find a way to.
Stamping people. No, I understand. Can I control it? It's called Tourette syndrome. I have. It's a medical disorder. It's involuntary movements.
We have Mark here with us today. Thanks, Mark, for joining us.
Thank you.
And I would love for you to address what we just saw, which is someone essentially trying to kick you out because of your behavior.
You know, it was a situation where I'm in a public place and making a lot of noises, and he was just trying to do his job, and I totally understand that, and I have a lot of compassion for that. And I was just trying to explain to him what my condition was, what was happening. But it happened all the time. That did not happen every single day in my life, I should say that.
Right.
But I have been in other situations. I've been in fast food restaurants where people have called me retarded. I've even been in a situation where I told someone I had Tourette's and they responded, "I'm a doctor. I know what Tourette's is, and you don't have Tourette's." But I was just thinking in my head, can I get your name so I never go to you?
Right.
That'd be great. Something like that.
Oh man, that really.
So how do you deal with that? You know, you have Tourette's. You've clearly embraced it, and you were...
And clearly found ways to minimize it. I'm not seeing it at all here today.
No, some cool things have happened recently in my life where I finally, just in my own experience with Tourette syndrome, it's different for every single person that has it, but I've been able to find more control.
Tourette syndrome affects certain areas of the brain, the basal ganglia being one of them, which does help with cognition, but also movement control. And what you see lighting up there is deep inside the brain. But it also affects your frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe is what we talk about as the area where there's impulse control, judgment, controls movements. And then deep within the brain is something called the thalamus. Think of the thalamus as the weigh station where all the sensory input from every part of your body comes through the thalamus before it's registered in your brain. These areas can be affected with this syndrome. And we're talking today, Mark, about, hey, it's not my fault.
Right.
Clearly not everyone understands Tourette's. So, number one, what in the world should people look out for? What should a parent look out for?
Well, it often starts with like a simple tick, blinking like that, or sniffing, or facial ticks like that, and it can move into a vocalization, grunting, and then shouting out phrases like that, and that's when it becomes Tourette's. And it's much more common in boys, 3 to 4 times more common, and it hits about 3 out of 1,000 kids. So, it's not that uncommon.
The curiosity is, how do you deal with that?
Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder, and the easiest way for me to explain it to anyone is that basically Tourette's creates this itch-like sensation inside of my body. And the only way that I feel that I can get rid of it is to tick. That's the stuff that you see me doing, the barking, the noises. So basically, the tick is me scratching that itch. People say, though, just don't scratch it. And it is a great question. It really is. But the reason it's so hard not to is because Tourette's is like having 10 or 15 or 20 itches all in one spot.
So during your day now, are you just constantly trying to avoid scratching that itch?
No, so here's basically what has happened. And I want to make clear, this is unique to myself.
It is.
This is different for every person with Tourette's.
Yes.
But 2 things happened. One, I met some people that helped me recognize that most of the judgments that I thought other people had of my Tourette's, a lot of that was my own judgment of myself. And so as I started to tolerate myself more, have a little bit more compassion, I found that the itch went down. And secondly, this was totally mind over body. Some people helped me change my relationship with my itch. And you see, my whole life, I thought it was a bad itch. It was this itch that I had to get rid of, this discomfort. But what if I could actually change the way that I feel about that itch? Now, what if that bad itch is just an itch and I don't have to necessarily scratch it? So that's what I did. I will say it was not easy, but it's definitely been probably one of the greatest accomplishments I've had. So it's been pretty cool.